Congrats on your career, Peter.
Thank you.
Can you talk us through making this decision and what went into it and how long it took?
It took a while. Obviously thought about it last year under lots of different circumstances, and it's something that I had to weigh up family-wise, club-wise. I think my big litmus test was whether I was capable of continuing to play for Ireland. That was the big thing, and I'm glad I made the call, and I'm happy with the decision now. I think it's the right time, and I've known nothing really. I left sixth year of school. I started in the academy in Munster, and I've one club, and you as a young fella you couldn't ask for any more really. So I've consider myself very lucky.
When you're playing 80 minutes in a massive test game and you're flying through tackle count, etc., does any part of you go, hang on a second?
No. I was loving last week. It was an unbelievable test, and I loved the fact that I got 80. I enjoyed every minute of it. It was tough. It was an unbelievably difficult test match, but I felt great after it. Felt sore the next few days, but I felt good about the squad. I thought that kind of a test would stand to us over the next couple of weeks, and the way we navigated our way through, I just thought it was a good test, and I enjoyed it.
But just the next couple of weeks, like with Ireland specifically, how big a carry is that to go out with what would be potentially the ultimate kind of thing?
Look, it's kind of day by day. Obviously, of course, it would be great, but there's a huge job to do over the next couple of weeks, and obviously French coming here in Triviva, what an occasion, and pending selection, what an occasion will be for me personally. Yeah. But you kind of sometimes you feel yourself drifting there, and then you pull yourself back to your session or what you need to do recovery wise. That's what's going to get you over the line.
Thanks, Michael. Nathan, Peter.
Peter, congratulations again. Just for next steps down the road, coaching, take a break, punditry. What are you at?
I'm going to take a break for the moment,
yeah. And then is coaching something that appeals to you?
Look, I'm not taking anything off the table, but I'm going to take a break from rugby, whatever happens. And kids are starting to grow up a little bit, and I've missed a huge amount of kind of milestones for them and family occasions, all sorts of stuff I've missed. So I'm going to enjoy a few months off, make sure that I get to all those things that I should be at. But enjoy my return, the period afterwards. I'm sure there's going to be, bumps in the road. You know what I mean? As I said, I've known nothing else other than rugby. You know what I mean? I've been very lucky, as I said, but at the same time, my focus has been very narrow. So I'm going to take a break and kind of open up the horizon a little bit.
Congratulations, Peter. Did you dread this day, or are you kind of fully at peace with it?
No, I think I'm at peace, yeah. Again, if you'd said to me at 5 or 6 or 10 or 17 or 18 or 25 that I'd be sitting here and be still playing for Ireland at this level, be playing with a squad like that out there, there isn't one of those versions of me that wouldn't have bitten your hand off for it and probably said that there's no chance that's going to happen. So I consider myself hugely lucky. I've worked hard, you know what I mean? I have worked hard, and I've put a lot into my career, personally and lots of other ways. But I know I've been very lucky, and I think I can be at peace sitting here saying that I'm looking forward to the next few weeks, but I'm looking forward to the future as well.
Okay. There's been many, I'm sure, just any particular standouts?
I could list off loads. I'm not going to start listing them off. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've had some incredible days here, some incredible days with Munster. Go back to my All-Ireland League days were, some of the best fun I've had on a pitch. So look, as I said, I'm not going to get into that, but I've been very lucky.
Peter, congrats.
Thank you.
Will you do a book?
We'll see. We'll see.
No, it's just an indecent proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got a figure? I'll think about it. Yeah, there's been talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, just 2 questions about the Netflix thing. Obviously, you allowed them to see a little bit of your life there. The cameras were allowed into your home. First of all, was that by choice on your part? And secondly, your tool shed, is that a reflection of your personality, would you say?
No, look, it's a pity the Netflix thing didn't go a bit better than it did, I think. If the whole thing had been organised a bit better, I think it could have been a better spectacle for fans in general. I was happy enough to allow him in a bit. I thought it was going to be good for the game and that kind of thing. But and look, there's parts of it are very good. I think some of the stories are excellent. But I think it could have been done a bit better. But the shade, it's, who doesn't like a man shed, like, you know what I mean?
Say that again?
Who doesn't love to have their own man shed? And I've been very lucky enough to build it over the last couple of years. And it is particular, obviously.
Everything's in place.
Yeah, and I do enjoy that. So it probably is slightly a reflection on my personality, yeah.
And you mentioned being a one club guy. Did you ever have an opportunity to play abroad, or did you ever consider it?
I had a few opportunities, but I was very upfront with Munster and Ireland on all of my contracts. I didn't want messing around. I said I want to stay here and play for Munster and Ireland, and I think the RFU treated me very well. I've been well looked after. But as I said, I think I gave back all that I could, and of course I've regrets big time, and I look back on them and reflect. But I think it's been a good relationship between my club and my country, and I can stand over that.
Just forgive me, Peter, just one more quickly. Am I right in thinking that your first cap should have been against France, but because of the freeze?
Yeah, well, I actually got picked against Wales the previous week, and Ferris got yellow carded, so I had to sit back down again for a spear tackle. And then we went to France the following week, and we warmed up, and we came in, and it was cancelled. So I said, fuck it, I'm never going to get capped at this stage. Then we had a week off, and luckily, the following week, Italy, I got capped. Yeah, so.
Very good.
Cameron?
Just one from you, Peter. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Clayton McMillan being appointed the new head coach in a new era at Munster, is that a comfort to you going out now that that's all kind of settled now?
Look, I think it's important for Munster. The club needs a bit more certainty and a bit more structure, and I think the appointments are very much needed, and I'm glad to see. I was very glad that the decision took a while, that things were done thoroughly, and we didn't snap into making a decision, and as a result, I think you'll have a great team there next year. Prendy obviously is he's all over attack. He's a Munster man. I think there's a huge importance to have that grain, that trend there, that we've people from home looking after the club. And we've always added a bit of experience, whether it be players or coaches. Going back to my early days, people like Tony McGann, obviously, Dougie Howlett's from the player point of view. We've always added a bit from that foreign element, and they've ended up sometimes being even more Munster than some of the people who were born there. So, I've heard this guy comes with a great CV, and a huge amount of people have said, how good a person he is and how good a fit he'll be. So I wish him all the best.
Great advice, yeah.
Thanks. Neil, Shane, and then Derek.
Hi, Peter. Congrats.
Thank you.
Bit of recency bias here, but in terms of job satisfaction, was Saturday up there in terms of feeling at the end of the game, given how it panned out?
Yeah, it certainly was. As I said, it was an unbelievably difficult test match. An unbelievable stadium, and you knew from their anthem that everyone was up for it in that ground. And I thought their team reflected that. Thought the way they played was unbelievably competitive and like we had to be. And we looked at the review and we compounded errors and we didn't give ourselves the best chance, but when we looked a bit deeper, we dug in and we some big moments and capitalised on some momentum and we stuck at it. Red card. Other days we could have had the excuses that was the reason we lost, but we didn't, and we got on with it and we won the match. And I thought that was very pleasing.
And the fact you've gone through that and after 7 changes, people talk about leaving the jersey in a better place. Do you feel the Irish team you're leading now is an incredibly strong position?
I do, yeah. The last, 4 or 5 years have been a great journey, and with this group, and it's obviously it's turned into a really mature group. I think we've a lovely balance of that, the real heart of the team being around that 30 mark, 31, which means they have great experience, great feel for the game, but they have, youth and freshness on their side, how eager they are to learn, and they have a load to go in their careers, and I think it's a lovely sweet spot the way this current squad is at.
Shane?
Peter, congratulations. You've had a lot of consistent success with Ireland. It's been harder to come by with Munster. Has that been difficult, or was the chess game kind of almost a sanctuary for you at times?
Yeah, look, I look back on my club career as being an unsuccessful one, whatever way you look at it. I came into the club with a group of players that had won a lot for the club. There's a lot of them still around, and I wanted to emulate that. And whatever way you look at it, I didn't. I captained the team for a long time, and to very little avail, unfortunately. So that's something that I'll have to live with. But I can still live with the fact that I put a huge amount of effort in. It wasn't for the lack of trying, and very lucky with the groups that I was around and the people that I've played with in that club, and the club itself. The amount they looked after me, giving back to me, giving back to the family is huge. But coming up here it's an interesting way to put it, a bit of a sanctuary. It turned into a little bit of a club for me as well. It was like, a club away from a club. The way the relationships went, the friends that I have up here, when I first started playing for Ireland, I didn't have wasn't the same feeling as it is. And it's turned into a bit of a club now up here.
Thanks. Derek, then Michael to finish up. Thanks.
Peter, there's 3 World Cups involved. You played in 2 quarterfinals and you missed 1 on the back of what had been a very heartening defeat against France. Just do you know which maybe was most disappointing, or was the one that maybe you felt could have been won out of the 2 quarterfinals?
Well, the last one stands out, having reviewed the whole thing, and the team and the preparation that we had done going into that probably hurts the most, the last one. Yeah.
And just last week, there were 14 men on the pitch for 20 minutes, and it was conspicuous that the back row made a hell of a lot of tackles. You were actually the top tackler on the Irish team. Is that a hard-working game, or was it a fairly run-of-the-mill game, or just personally, when you're at your age, your natural return, but it was actually looked to be one of the matches that maybe you were enjoying yourself more, or did more work in that? Sure.
No, I enjoyed it. Yeah, I said earlier, I loved every minute of it, and it was tough, unbelievably tough test match. But they're the ones you have to, going through them, you have to show leadership, and there was some very good decisions made. There's a group of guys, as I said already, who are, Dan I know was the captain, but he's guys to turn to who can help with calls, and I thought we navigated the game really well. And attritionally it was tough. There was every aspect of the game was tough, but that's test match rugby, and
Sweet on.
You know, that'll always be the way.
Just last one from me. Did you find, I think a lot of us remember this time, did you find it hard to pick up after Anthony Foley's death? But was there maybe danger at rugby or any of those things, or did you feel it was more important to play on in a sense that that was an emotional time at that point?
Yeah, look, I mean, what else were we going to do? You know what I mean? There was no other option. We obviously had the call that week to whether we played the Glasgow game or not. That was the big decision. And, you know, our thought process was he would have killed us if we didn't play that game, you know. And thankfully we did. And I think we paid due respect in that game for him.
Thanks. Last two questions, Michael, then Kieran.
Hi Peter. As Derek said, you were the top tackler last week. You're starting Six Nations games there. Everyone talks about the influence you have around the group. Had that given you food for thought without continuing at all this week?
No, like I love playing rugby. I love playing for Ireland. I love playing for my club. But you know, do you go to a point where you're saying to yourself, you're not good enough for this now? You know what I mean? And then you've gone too far and you regret it. So that was a decision last year for me. You know, if you're in, you're in, and you're 100% in. You got to make the Irish squad. You know what I mean? Because that's the test for me. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm glad I did. You know what I mean? Whether I'm picked or not over the next couple of weeks, you know, I've trained really well this campaign. You know, I've competed. You know, pushed guys have pushed me. And I haven't been out of place in Irish training. That was the kind of the test for me. You know what I mean? Are you going to be good enough next year to compete with these guys? And you know, I can leave it there. Saying, you know what I mean? If that was the last one last week, it was the right call. So I don't want to get to the point where I'm, you know, maybe not selected or maybe not picked for a squad. I didn't want that to happen. And I think I made the right call.
Last question, Kieran.
Peter, congratulations. What will you be so about being good for them?
The people, friendships, the dressing room after a game, probably 60 minutes post a big game at home or in here. You know, that period with the lads afterwards, upstairs to meet the families. That period after the game is, you know, very people get to feel that feeling. There's very few people get to feel that buzz, and that's something I'll miss big time. You know, I'll miss the lad. I'll miss lots of aspects of it. I'll miss training and being competitive. But the relationships and that few minutes after the game when you're wrecked, but you've put in a performance and you can have a beer and have a chat, and kind of next week is distant. That's what I'll miss.